Hey guys, it's Leo with Dreaming Tree, and today we're going to show you how to assemble these amazing 3D pop-up cards. So we have 3 to choose from with different captions, and they're probably unlike anything you've seen before. So as you can see, they fold nice and flat, and you're probably used to a certain style of pop-up card, but check this out. So when you open it up, the actual 3D element comes up and rises up from the center. So we've kind of, it's basically slice form technology. I don't know if you want to call it technology, but I'm going to because it sounds fancy. But it's kind of implemented in a way where you can actually put it in a card and it'll fold flat. So these are 5x7, so pretty standard size. And they just have this wow element to them. I'm sure that your recipients are going to love them. So we've got 3 to choose from, some really awesome detailed hand-drawn captions on the front, and basically it's pretty straightforward as far as paper selection goes. You know, this one here, we've got roughly 1, 2, 3, 4 colors, maybe 5. Doesn't use very much paper at all. And we used American Crafts AC cardstock for all of these, with the exception of a few where we found some specialty foil paper at our local Michael's store. So that's completely optional, up to you. I know that you guys are going to do amazing things with these and use your own papers, and you know, I can't wait to see what you come up with. So we're going to show you how easily these go together, how quickly they go together. We used a Sizzix Eclipse 2 to cut all these out, and there's a lot of amazing detail in all of these, but we also did some testing with the Cricut Explorer and the Silhouette Cameo. All of them were able to cut these without any problem at all. So without further ado, let's go ahead and begin the assembly. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and begin with the Let It Snow card, and as you can see, opens up beautifully with this intricate snowflake design in here. And so these cards actually go together fairly quickly because there's so few pieces, yet they're so impressive. So I'm going to go put that on the side here and just kind of look at and do a quick overview of the pieces. So we have the base of the card that already has the caption cut out of it, so there's no work to be done there. Okay, your machine should be able to cut that out beautifully. And you've got 2 of these panels, okay, and they both have little slits in the middle for the little mechanism, and we've got a little design there, so that's going to get glued on there, but you don't want to do that just yet. I'm just showing you where it's going to go. Okay, and then we have this piece that's going to go here. Okay. All right, so we've got that, but again, don't glue that down. We're going to put that aside, and we're going to go ahead and work on assembling the actual tree itself. So you'll notice here, for this one, you've got these 4 main pieces, and then you've got the little mechanism pieces here. And what we're going to do is we're going to locate and just kind of group the similar cuts. So as you can see here, this one's got a long line starting at the bottom, heading towards the top, and then you've got 2 of these with just the slits at the top. And what we're going to do is we're going to glue these back to back. Okay, so I've got my texture side here, so I'm going to put glue on the back of this, and I'm going to glue that to itself like so. Okay, all right, so I'm going to do that actually off camera to save some time, but you just want to kind of glue it like that. And actually this thing's sticking together right now because it's got the stickiness off of a fresh mat, so it's kind of stuck on there, but I am going to go ahead and glue that. And you're also going to do the same thing with this one. So you're going to glue this back to back like so. Okay, so go ahead and do that, and then we'll go ahead and continue with the next step. Okay, so we've got both of these pieces, all 4 of these pieces, glued back to back on their corresponding partner. And what we're going to do is we're going to take this piece and basically slide this piece underneath. You see how that works? Okay, and then we've got these little square notches right here. You can see the little square notch right there, and you're basically going to just make sure that that's going through the little hole in the other one. Okay, so that's going to create the dimensional tree. Okay, so you can see that dimensional tree. Now, the next step here is to take these little mechanism pieces and just kind of slide them into place to create the little anchoring mechanism that's going to help this thing pop in and out. So what you're going to want to do first is just take and just make sure that you kind of bend these little tabs out. Okay, so these are going to be valley folds, basically. All 4 of them need to be like that. And then we're going to go ahead and begin just kind of sliding them over these little slits at the base of the tree. Okay, so at this point, what I want you guys to do is take these pieces and just kind of fold the little tabs in and put them side by side together as you see here, okay? Because what we're gonna do is we're gonna do this in 2 stages basically, and we'll show you how everything goes together. So we're gonna get in real tight here so that you can see the detail, because yeah, this is gonna be a little challenging because the little slits here are pretty small, but just be patient and trust that you can do it because it's really not that hard. It's just gonna take a little bit of focus and patience. Okay, so you can see this little notch here, okay? What we're gonna do is we're gonna take this first piece that looks like this, okay? And you see the notch here at the bottom. We're gonna go ahead and slide that over and on top of this notch here. Okay, let me see if you can see that. Let me get that at an angle where you can see it. So basically this notch is gonna go right like so. Okay, so see if you can see that. Okay, so I've got it halfway on. I'm gonna go ahead and push it all the way down so that it's flush. Okay, so let's see if you can see that. You see what I did there? Okay, so that piece is intact. We've got this little tab here that's sticking out. Okay, there you go. All right, and we're gonna go ahead and go over to this side here. We're gonna go with this little tab here, or this little part of the tree base. Okay, we're gonna grab our next piece, which is this one here, okay? And we're gonna slide that under so that these 2 connect. And then once we get that in place, we're gonna wiggle. I'll show you here. Let's do that one first, actually. I'm gonna go ahead and slide that on. Hopefully you can see that. There you go. And then we're gonna go ahead and take these 2 pieces here, and I'm gonna slide that one underneath to get those notches to connect. Okay, so I'll show you what that looks like here in just a second. There we go. Okay, hopefully you can see that. There we go. And now what's gonna happen is, once we have that in place, I'm gonna kind of move that around so you can see. These are kind of gonna bend out and form like you're just gonna kind of bring them together so that they're right next to each other, okay? And they're gonna be like that, and they're gonna go underneath that little slit, okay? So that's half of it. You're gonna repeat that same process with these 2 here, okay? But also, we're gonna obviously attach these next tabs to this slit here and the slit that's over here. Let me just do it. Let me do one more here. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and we've got half of it assembled, okay? Now as you can see, we've got this little piece here, okay? And we've got this piece here. We're gonna go ahead and slide that in here, okay? Right, and now this little piece here, that little notch there, is gonna go on top of that notch there. Okay, so I'm just gonna go ahead and slide that over, connect that piece. Okay, you see that? See how we did that? Okay, and then finally, we've got one last piece. We're gonna curve this out. Okay, we're gonna take this piece, looks like this, okay, and we're gonna start with the middle of the tree. Hold on 1 second here, let me make sure I've got that in, right? Okay, so that, as you can see, that notch on the bottom of it is gonna slide over the notch right here on the base. It's kind of hard to see, but we know it's there. So I'm going to slide that over. Okay, 1 second here. Get that in place. Okay, so I've got that in place right over that. Those two notches are connected. And then finally what's left is just taking that notch there and sliding it under this notch here. Okay, so basically, I'm gonna go ahead and make sure you can see that. Slide that under like that. Okay, and then the last step is taking this notch here and sliding it over this notch here. Okay, so we're just going to go ahead and do that. And this is probably the piece that's going to have the most resistance because everything else is already in place, but it will work. Okay, so I'm just going to get that notch in there. Okay, and so what you should end up with is these two tabs here on one side and then two tabs on the other side. Okay, and there is your tree, okay, with the little mechanism all in place. Okay, so that's pretty much how that works. It's a little tedious. You're kind of working at a really macro level, but you can do it. I know you can do it, and we're going to go ahead and just put the rest of the card together now. Okay guys, so we at this point have our tree assembled. We've got the little mechanism on there. Now what I want you guys to do is I want you to fold this thing flat. Okay, now there's two ways of, well, really you want to go ahead and fold it flat like this so that the little mechanism part, these tabs, you're not stretching them, you're not pushing them towards each other, you're kind of stretching them apart. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to take this piece, okay, and we're going to go ahead and slide the tabs through this slot, okay, and we can just actually, if you just push that flat like that, as long as you have the tabs sticking out like that, 1 second here, as long as you have the tabs sticking out, we can go ahead and place glue underneath these tabs, okay, and this is not going to be exposed, but you really don't need too much glue. I'm going to go ahead and just push these down and hold them in place for just a minute and make sure that they get a good hold. Okay. So we've got these tabs glued down. All right, we can go ahead and proceed to the next step. All right, so we've got these tabs glued down. So basically what we're going to do at this point is we're going to get this panel glued into place. Okay. Now before we do that, because we've got this intricate design here and because we've got this design here, what we want to do is we want to begin by just getting a little bit of glue on the inside of this. Not too much, don't get too close to the letters because you're going to spread it and then it's going to seep through. We don't want that, but we do want it to stick in these little delicate areas. Okay, and then what we're going to do is, you don't want to put glue here because you're not exactly sure where it's going to go. So on the inside of this, we're going to go ahead and put glue all over this and be very gentle with the glue and try to get some nice, not too gloppy streaks on here, because if it's too thick, sometimes you kind of see that glue line show through the cardstock, which we don't want. So do your best to kind of get as much glue on there. I mean, try to cover the entire surface, but don't get too crazy. All right, so we're going to go ahead and do your best to place this down so that you've got a nice even border all the way around, okay? And also keep in mind that you want it kind of, you have to make sure that you're not overlapping the actual score line on the actual card base itself, okay? So I'm just gonna go ahead and push down on this just to make sure it gets good grip. And now the cool part about that is that white is going to display that caption on the front. And as you can see, despite telling you not to do it, I did it. I put a little bit too much glue in some of these areas and it kind of came through. Luckily the paper is white, no harm, no foul. But that looks awesome. And again, no work involved, just cutting. And the tree's halfway done. So we're just gonna go ahead and finish this thing up by putting this last piece in. Okay, so what we're gonna go ahead and do is, here's your other panel here that's gonna go here. But what we wanna do is we wanna flip it over like this, okay? And we're gonna take these two tabs, we're gonna slide them through this slit, okay? So just kind of feed that through. Okay, I'm gonna get my head in here. I'm sorry if you have to see my head. There we go. So you see how that works, okay? And we're just gonna go ahead and put glue on, doesn't really matter which side, but I'm gonna go ahead and do it like this because that's how I did it before. I'm just gonna push and hold that down. Okay, let that dry. And then we're gonna go ahead and glue this to this side here, and that's gonna finish off your card. So just give this a second to dry. Make sure that it's got a good grip, okay? And then we're gonna go ahead and again, try to get out to the edge. Don't get too gloppy. And just make sure you get a good coverage on that. Nice thin lines. They're almost like, when you get the right squeeze on the glue, it's almost, they almost come out like little perforations. I love that. Okay, so that is good for me. I'm gonna go ahead and at this point, just bring this over, okay? And just make sure that you've got a nice border. Okay, and glue that down. And ideally, when you get this right, these boxes here for this little mechanism should pretty much create like a 90-degree angle, okay? And that to me looks pretty darn good. So the true test now, as you can see, we've got our card, is the fold test. And if it folds and it doesn't break, then you did a good job. And look at that, awesome. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and assemble the Celebrate card, which you can see here, okay? And basically this one's a little bit different than the first one in that the tree is only one layer, so you don't have to do the gluing like that, but there's an additional piece that we do have to glue on. So I'm gonna show you, I'm gonna run you through all of the steps here, okay? Okay, so as you can see here, we've got all of our pieces laid out. And the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna take this tree, okay? And as you can see, there is a trunk piece for each of the trees, okay? And what I'm doing is I'm just making sure that I have the texture side facing the same direction, okay? And what we're gonna do is we're gonna place glue along basically from this point here all the way up to the tip, and we're gonna glue that in place, making sure that these little square notches line up and that the top is nice and flush against the trunk of the tree. Okay, so we're gonna get that glued into place. And we're gonna do the same thing with this piece here, okay? So again, texture side facing the same way. I mean, you don't have to do it that way. I prefer it for aesthetic reasons. And we're gonna glue that. You always wanna make sure that these little slits here all match up. Okay, so we're gonna get those glued. And these are the mechanism pieces for the actual slice form and for the contraption that opens and closes the card. And then we've got the star that's gonna go on last. And we have the two pieces here for the liner with the slits. Of course, your little motif will be on the bottom left, okay? It's gonna get glued down there. We're gonna do that towards the end of the assembly. You've got the other piece that's gonna go here. And of course, the beautiful caption on the front. All the cutting and all the work is done by your machine. So there's really nothing involved in that, okay? So go ahead and get the trunks of the tree glued on to the actual tree, and then we'll go ahead and begin the next part of the process. So that is that. And at this point, what we can go ahead and do is take this tree, okay, and we're basically gonna slide it over this tree here. You can kind of pull that to the side and get this tree up. Just slide it up so that they meet at the point there, okay? And then these little square notches here, okay? You can see the little square notches, and they're gonna go through that little slit there, okay? So we just need to feed that through there, and that's gonna kind of help create that nice X form, basically, okay? So that's pretty much it for that. Okay, now as far as the star goes, okay, what we're gonna do is we're gonna go ahead and just slide the star right on that little top of the tree there. So we're gonna put a little bit of glue just at the top of the tree here and here, and just kind of slide that on, okay? And then on the other side, we can put a little bit of glue on the actual star there, okay? And a little bit of glue at the top of the tree, and just slide that into place as well so that they line up, and then the star will basically kind of hold in place like that, okay? So you want to go ahead and get that star on there. Okay, so the next step here is the little mechanisms here. Now, as you can see, you've got some alternating ones here. We've got this piece here where the notch in the middle is going from the top to the middle, okay, and then we're going to have another one here where the notch in the middle is going from the bottom up to the middle, and these tabs should be right next to each other. Okay, you're going to repeat that over here, and we're going to do this in stages of 2. Okay, so what we're going to go ahead and do is start with the first little piece here. We're going to grab this piece here, and as you can see, this little notch here in the middle is going to go right over this notch here, okay, at the base or the trunk of the tree. So just kind of slide that on there, on top there, okay? So you see how I did that, okay? And basically the next step then is to take that alternating piece, and you can see we've got that little notch there, okay? And that is gonna go, oops, that is gonna go right underneath this little notch here, okay? So we're just gonna slide that like so, okay? And then once we've done that, this little notch here is gonna slide over the notch right there. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and just feed that. It's kind of like, I don't know, braiding or something. I'm not really sure how to explain it. You just kind of just over and under, I guess, is the best way to explain it. Okay, so I just did that, and then these two little tabs here are gonna come together at that point right there, and they are gonna bend out because they'll be kind of flat, okay? And so we're going to repeat that process with the other side of the tree, okay? Okay, so as you can see, we've got this notch here. Okay, we're going to grab this piece here, okay? And we're going to slide that underneath to get that to connect, okay? Then we're going to slide this over and get these two notches connected. Okay, you see how I did that, right? And then finally, we've got one piece left, okay? And it's this piece here, okay? And again, okay, now this piece here, that little middle notch at the bottom, it's gonna slide over this little notch right here, okay? So we're gonna slide that and feed it through. Again, this is pretty tedious, but it's definitely doable. And what you may need to do is actually move this branch out of the way while you're feeding that on there, just to make it easier to glide on. Okay, so I've got that. Okay, so I've got that piece in place, and then the rest of these pieces are just going to just kind of go over under again. Okay, so we've got that, and then these two pieces are going to spread out, and then we finally have these two pieces that we just need to join. Okay, so it's going to be a little bit of tension, but everything should hold together. Okay, so we've got that in place, and now we can take these. Okay, so now if you grab these tabs, you'll see that this thing should go ahead and close nicely for you, and you may want to just kind of flatten it out a little bit just to make sure that you're kind of training the paper, and then we can go ahead and grab these tabs, and this thing should open and close like so. Okay, so we basically got the structure of the tree in place, and we can go ahead and begin feeding it through here. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and begin with this piece here with the little present on the bottom left. Okay, I'm going to take this tree and I'm just going to fold it flat. Okay, I'm going to feed these tabs through. Okay, through these little slits here, or this little slit, I should say. It's just singular, one slit. Okay, so you see how I fed that through. You can kind of fold it, hold it flat there. And then let's take a look at the other side. Okay, so we've got the tabs fed through. We're gonna go ahead and place a little bit of glue just underneath here. Just real gentle, don't need too much. We're gonna push these down and make sure that it gets a nice hold, and hold that there for just a few seconds until you're sure that it's in place. Okay, so I've got the tabs glued down, and the next step basically is to get this glued down into place here. Okay, and when we do that, just want to make sure that you've got a nice, pretty even border all the way around. Okay, and what we'll do to make sure that we don't get glue all over the place here is we're going to go ahead and just gently put just a little bit of glue on the inside of this guy. You don't want to go too crazy, because when you push this down, that glue is going to spread out. You just want it to hold, but not get too crazy. So just get your glue in all these little nooks and crannies here. Okay, and you can kind of go around here as well, just a little bit. Okay, and then for the rest of it, you're going to want to, because you're not really sure where to put it here, so we're just going to put it on the actual panel itself. We're going to go ahead and glue that down. Okay, make sure that that border is nice and even, and then push and hold that down while it gets a good grip. And if you did that right, if we look on the other side here, you shouldn't see anything protruding into this white area. And again, I went a little too crazy on the glue because some of it did come through, so be very, use the glue sparingly when you're gluing the back side of this. Okay, that looks great. I love these colors. The AC cardstock really makes this pop. And so basically the last step here is to take and feed these remaining tabs. You want to pop these up, okay, and then we're going to feed them through this little notch. And again, it kind of helps if you can get your face in there, which I kind of can't, so it's almost like threading a needle blind. Bear with me. There we go. Okay, got that. And I guess it kind of helps to take this piece and match it up and make sure that you've got it nice and aligned with the other one. Okay, and then we're going to fold these over and put some glue right here and right there. It's way too much. I'm just going to spread that out a little bit and push these down and make sure that this gets a good grip as well. And once that has a good hold, we're going to go ahead and put glue on the rest of this guy. Okay. And don't ask me why I just changed my glue style, but I did. And we're going to go ahead and fold this over. Make sure that when you put it down, the card, or I'm sorry, the tree is nice and open. Okay. Get that nice and centered and aligned. There we go. Okay, great. Look at that. Okay, and the final test here is the fold test. I'm going to go ahead and just close this and push it down, get everything to get a good grip. Look how beautiful that is, and voila, there she is. Okay, so finally, we're going to go ahead and show you how to put together the Season's Greetings card. And again, you can see the beautiful work here on the front of the card. And as we open it up, we have this very elaborate, detailed, swirly-like Christmas tree, okay? So this one is a little bit different in that there's a few more layers involved, okay? Now what we have here is we've got these red pieces, okay? These are little mechanism pieces for the actual slice form / pop-up mechanism. So we'll get to those in a minute. Basically what we're going to do is you're going to glue these layers like so, okay, on the front and on the back. Okay, so you just want to make sure that you've got the right pieces. Okay, and that is obviously not the right piece. That is the right piece. Okay, so we're going to just glue those down. And actually, I didn't grab the right piece. Now this one here, as you can see, has these little square notches. So you want to make sure that you're grabbing the correct corresponding pieces. As you can see, that one's got the notch too, and that's going to go right on the back. Okay, so you want to make sure that all those notches line up. Everything's nice and flush. Take your time getting everything aligned. Okay, so just make sure you get that all glued into place. You're going to do the same thing for this tree here, or this side of the tree. Okay, and that's going to go on this side here. And just make sure that these are nice and lined up, these little slits here and the slit up at the top. And glue that down on the back as well. Okay, so go ahead and do that, and then we'll go ahead and begin assembling the actual tree. Okay, so I've got this side and this side of the tree all done. So I'm going to go ahead and just kind of separate that and slide this part of the tree up so that this little notch system here just kind of goes up, and so that they meet up at the point there. Okay. All right. And then these little squares there just feed through that little slit, and that's going to kind of create the basic shape of the tree for us. Okay, so once you get that all done, your tree should look kind of like this. Okay, and actually you can see that it doesn't look that great because I didn't have the little square in that notch, but it should be pretty much like a plus sign once you have it all together properly. Okay, so we've got the actual tree all put together. Okay, it should be able to stand up on its own there. And at this point, we're going to go ahead and begin working with the little notch mechanism so that we can get it in place. So we're going to go ahead and show you how that's done. Okay, so we're going to start with one side. Doesn't matter which one. Now you can see this side here has a little notch up at the top, and it's coming from the top, kind of ends in the middle. So what we're going to do is we're going to grab this piece here. You can see that it's got the little notch on the bottom. And we're just going to feed that over. Okay, you might need to move this out of the way a little bit and just feed that in so that it slides right onto that little notch. Okay, so you see that. Okay, we've got that slid right in there. Okay, and then we can take and bend that this way, bend this little tab towards you. Okay, and then we're going to go ahead and go kitty corner on this one here. And as you can see, this guy here, it's very tough to actually show you this because these pieces are so small, but you can see that this one has a little notch that starts at the bottom. Okay, so what we want to do is we want to grab this piece here. Okay, and as you can see, it's got a notch here. Okay, that's going to go, actually it's going to go this way. Okay, and it's going to go, we're going to feed that right in like that. Okay, hopefully you can see that. And then basically these two are going to connect as well. So we're going to connect these two pieces by feeding them over and under. Okay, hopefully you can see that. There you go. And then these pieces here are going to make up one side of the little anchoring mechanism. So as you can see there, we've got these two pieces here. Okay, and then we're going to go ahead and basically repeat the same process for the other sides here. Okay, so we're going to take a look at this piece here. Okay, you can see where the notch is. Okay, there you go. There's that notch. So now what we want to do is when we're putting these together, we want to make sure that these tabs are on opposite sides. So we're going to grab one of these pieces, and this one is going to slide right there. It's going to slide into place right there. Okay. And then also, we're going to go and connect these two pieces like so. Okay, so that's going to connect like that. And then this piece here, to bend that back. Okay, so finally we're going to grab this piece here, and that is going to slide over this middle piece here, and then it's going to go under the other pieces. Okay, so it's just a matter of just being careful and making sure that you're getting all of these in place just very carefully. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and slide that, get these two notches on top of each other. There we go. See how I did that? And again, these little tabs need to be right next to each other. So now it's just a matter of kind of going over and under and connecting these two pieces. Okay. Make sure that those tabs are pointing out. And then the final piece here, we just need to slide them together. And this is, again, this is going to have the most resistance. I'm just going to feed those together. And bam. Okay. So that takes care of that. And now we should, again, make sure that this little square tab is in place. Okay, and then we take this, notice that it should fold and open when we pull and push these in together. Now again, another thing I might want to do is just kind of, once we get this all in place, is just kind of push and fold that down just to kind of help train it. Okay, and then we'll take another look at it. And as you can see, it's opening and closing. So we can go ahead and finalize the assembly for this guy. Okay, and just like we did with the other projects, what we're going to do is we're going to take the tree, okay, and we're going to take these tabs that are sticking out and feed them through this little slit that you can see there. Okay, you see that slit? We're just going to feed this through. Okay, and actually, if we could take this and fold it flat, that works too. We just feed the little tabs through the slit. Okay, and then we can take a look at the back of it. Just fold those tabs over. Okay, now I actually made a little bit of a boo-boo, okay? And you don't want to fold them this way. You want to actually fold the tabs the opposite way, okay? Because this will actually show through on the design here if you glue it this way. So you want to push the tabs towards the edge of this piece and glue them down that way. Okay, so this is the only one that's a little bit different because of the size of the actual caption on the front. We want to make sure that that doesn't get obstructed. Okay, so again, with this one here, you want to glue the tabs closest to the edge of this panel. Okay, so we've got that in place. Okay, and what we're going to do at this point is we're going to put glue around this caption and inside the caption as well, but not too much. Just want to be real careful. Give it a nice amount of glue and just kind of dab it in certain places just so that it gets a hold. You don't want to go too crazy here because once you push this panel down, it's going to start pushing that glue out and some of it might show through. Now this stuff doesn't dry clear, so it's not a big deal, but just be careful. We can go ahead and put glue on the rest of this. So you want to just push that down, get that right on there, create a nice even border all the way around. Okay, just push that down. Once you have it in place, give it a good push. Just hold that down, okay? So we've got that in place. Now, the final step at this point is going to be to take this panel and take these tabs, pop them up, okay? And that is going to be like that. So we need to flip it like this. And again, we're kind of threading the needle here. Just be real careful. Slide that right through. And it kind of helps to get this panel lined up with the other one as far as the placement goes. And then you can fold these little tabs over, throw some glue down. And this one, it doesn't matter which way they go because there's nothing that is going to obstruct it. And just push that down and hold it until it gets a good grip. Okay, should be pretty good. Okay, now we can actually, we take this, we can test it and just make sure that it opens up properly, and it does. Okay, so what we're going to do then is go ahead and just put glue all over this panel here. Okay, and slide that over, open it up, get that glued into place. Okay, going to be a lot more careful than I am, but there she is. And now the test, make sure that it closes. Get some of that excess glue off there because I'm sloppy. I'm just pushing it down, make sure everything's got a good grip, and voila, you got your card. And there she is. Isn't that cool? I could just do this for hours. But that looks beautiful. It's just a wonderful card. The machine does most of the work for you. Again, this part is a little tedious, but anybody can do it, as you can see, and the results are spectacular. I hope you guys had just as much fun putting these together as we did creating them for you. And if you do make one of these, would love to see them on various forms of social media. Go ahead and post photos on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, especially Pinterest, on your blog, and be sure to tag your photos with the hashtag at the bottom, because we will be selecting random images for inclusion in our Dreamers Gallery. And if you make it in the Dreamers Gallery, you're going to be in the running for some amazing prizes, including gift cards to Dreaming Tree and other fun things. So that's about it. I hope you guys had fun, and I will see you next time.